Welcome back to Digi Bros, everybody.
What's up?
So I want to talk more now that I've... Jesus fucking Christ. Now that I've
start the episode.
beaten Bloodborne, now that I've done it all,
Yep.
pretty much did everything, I want to talk about comparing it against Dark Souls. So I think both games have their strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
Bloodborne, I actually think, in terms of like the gameplay, is the better game. Not only for the combat, because like it's way faster, it's way easier to get around the world, but without losing the feeling of an open world, you know? Because like Dark Souls 2 is just poorly designed. Everything like there's very little reason to go back places in Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
Like where everything just kind of tapers off.
On the grave.
Everything just kind of tapers off into a. Oh my god, is that coast down there?
Yeah, it is.
Oh shit, that's where we fight the final
grave
boss.
Above him. That's the lumen flowers from the garden that Maria was behind.
I see.
It's next to a tombstone. See Koss down there. A corpse is better left untouched, or whatever she said. She was protecting the secret.
That Koss is dead.
Ooh, theories. Well, she's protecting the secret that the hunters killed him.
I see.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think Koss is a her, considering it literally gives birth to the orphan of Koss. What the fuck was I talking about? Right. This game, like, Dark Souls 1, or let's go back to Demon Souls. Demon Souls had this very arcadey feel, where it has, like, each level, it has 5 different, like, areas you can go to, and each one loops back in on itself and is super cool, but, like, you always go back to a hub, and like it had this very arcade vibe to it, where it had like elements of being open world, but it was mostly just like level by level. And then Dark Souls is this big open world game that like it's just really cleverly made, and everything loops back in on each other, and you run around, and it's super memorable and super cool. Then Dark Souls 2, they made it so you could teleport between bonfires, but it's still like an open world. But, like, because of that, they put bonfires in places that, like, you would have no reason to go back to.
Yeah.
You know, like, you'd reach...
Dude, the bonfires in Dark Souls 2 are retarded.
Yeah, they put them in all kinds of stupid places. And it'd be like, you kill a boss, you get to a bonfire, and then you'd have no reason to ever go back to that boss. You know, like, there's only maybe...
There's way too many bonfires in Dark Souls 2, because it doesn't, like, rope around to itself the same way. And
there's only, like, maybe 2 bonfires in this game that you have, like, no reason to go... But, like, there's no reason you'd ever go back to the Bloodstarved Beast lantern, like it's kind of a dead end.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be an easier way to get from there to somewhere else, but like there's very little reason to bother with it, So like, but with this game, for the most part, it's as tightly constructed a world as Dark Souls, but it also has, when you go to the lanterns, you teleport back to your home base, and then from there you can teleport anywhere. And while it is a little bit of a pain in the ass because there's so many load screens to do that, it makes it so much easier to just get around. You never have to do something like, I'm in Anor Londo and I want to be in the Firelink Shrine, and now I have to run across the entire fucking planet to do that, Which, I mean, in Dark Souls, you do eventually unlock teleporting to bonfires, but, like... I think this game probably has the happiest combination of all the games, and the least, like... Because, like I said before, it's constantly circling in on itself in this game.
Yes.
Like, Dark Souls would do it... You get to, like, the end of a level, and
you get one bonfire at a
back.
Level, and the entire level keeps going back to that bonfire.
Yeah,
which is great.
There's tons of looping. It's a lot, like you said before, it's a lot more vertical instead of...
Yes.
You never feel like you're running a long distance. You're constantly going up and down to the same bonfires and stuff, or same lanterns. And,
bonfires.
So that's really cool about it. Now, on the other hand, I don't think the areas are as varied or as memorable as the ones from Dark Souls, where I don't think anything in this game lives up to Anor Londo, like the majesty of seeing that for the first time.
I guess.
I don't think anything quite... And I mean, it's more consistent in tone, it's got that thick gothic feel, but like, I think Dark Souls had so many areas that are like, you'll never forget what they looked like, Whereas there's certain areas in this game that like... I don't know if they're quite as memorable. Like when you get to Yargul and it's basically just Yarnum, but with more buttresses.
That one's a little bit, probably the most disappointing level, because it's just like, oh, well, we're still going through the same town. 'Cause, I mean, that is still part of, like, it's connected to Yarnum if you found that doorway to get there.
Right.
Like, it's not like it teleports you into the middle of nowhere.
I think there's definitely some pretty memorable areas in this game, but I feel like they're all a lot smaller and more like, I don't know, there's just not quite the same level of like awe that I got from Dark Souls, you know. So that's you know, but again, that's like 1 point this game, 1 point Dark Souls, you know, like this game's a lot more fun to traverse and easier to get around.
Your opinion, man.
But Dark Souls is a little bit more memorable. So then this game, the combat.
See, the thing is I feel like where I would disagree about that is that when I first played Dark Souls, I didn't think it was nearly as memorable as Demon Souls. Or like, you know, after I played Dark Souls, I didn't like it as much as Demon Souls the first time I beat it.
Right.
Like, it was after a long time of playing it over and over again that I liked it more.
Well, I would also argue that
I thought that had a way cooler atmosphere.
I, too, would argue that Demon Souls has more memorable areas than Dark Souls. It's just the problem that they don't all link into each other, and it doesn't feel as, like,
well, even that
was
cool,
you know?
In Demon Souls, because it wasn't meant to feel alive. It's meant to feel dead. It's sad.
You know what I fucking mean.
Yes.
It doesn't feel as much like a world that you're living in and a part of and like involved with the way that Dark Souls does. Where Dark Souls makes you constantly revisit places you've been and you get this deep sense of the world and you feel like you're a part of it. And this game kind of does that. This game, you know, does make you go back through areas over and over again and you kind of get that sense of the world. But like, I think that it just wasn't quite as memorable as Dark Souls was in the long run. But like, Demon Souls in terms of art design was definitely the most like interesting of the 3 games, probably, you know.
I don't know. I like this one the most on all fronts.
I think that the combat is more fun in this game than Dark Souls, more streamlined. I think it sucks that there's not as much customization or variety in this game as there is in Dark Souls, but at the same time, it's just more fun to play through. You know, it's more fun to just fucking haul ass and kill.
I don't mind the lack of variety and customization because we already have that in Dark Souls, so it's like I don't need that again in this game where it wouldn't fit as well because it wouldn't make sense to have all these different armor types and stuff in this game.
Right.
And a lot of that stuff just gets tedious, where it's like no one fucking upgrades their armor in Dark Souls. Like, you never waste your Titanite shards on that.
Well, that depends on who you are. Because, like we were saying, our friend Hypocrite, I actually just got cut off mid-sentence when I was explaining this before, but Hypocrite, in the last episode, like, played through the whole game with, like, such strong armor that he fucking got hit while drinking on Artorias, and it didn't even fucking make him stop drinking, you know?
Well,
like, he was a fucking tank, right? Yeah. So, like, you know, I like the variety of Dark Souls, and then, but I think that the biggest, like, man, I can't decide, like, I really can't decide, is the story. Because I think that this game has a more interesting plot, like what's going on with the whole fucking, the Elder Gods, and they're trying to be born into the fucking human world, and like, the imagery of, like, what the monsters are and everything is fucking rad. Like, there's no boss that looks lame in this game. They're all fucking cool. You know, like, all the bosses are cool. Even the hunters. I love the idea that you fight a bunch of hunters who are basically like you know? Yeah. Like, where Dark Souls 2 tried to, like, Dark Souls 2 had a bunch of humanoid bosses, and, like, the reason for that is humanoid bosses are typically the most fun to fight, but they made them all, like, too similar and lame, and they were just kind of like, what the fuck, I'm fighting another giant knight dude, you know, like another 12-foot knight, oh boy, it's like half the game. Like, yeah, this is the area I never came to when I played.
Oh, there's not much in here. It's just Blood Rock.
Oh, this is where the other Blood Rock is? Well, that's important if you wanted to use more than one weapon. But yeah, like, I think that all the monsters are cool. I think fighting the hunters is a much cooler version of, like, you know, fighting things that are similar to yourself, because your moveset is so much more interesting in this game, and they can, you know, they can stun lock you and stuff, and they can do all the shit you can do, and you really got to play tactically with them. And the hardest the hardest encounters in this game were anytime I had to fight multiple hunters at once.
Yeah.
Like, bosses, most of them I just mowed through. But with hunters, it's much more of a skill check, you know? Like, the bosses, a lot of the time, you can just run around their ass and fucking wail on them, and they can't do shit to you. But hunters are like, you really gotta know your shit and know what you're doing and dodge at the right times and, you know, get your gun out. And if you've had to fight fucking 3 of them, like in Yargul, then it's like, I'm fucked, you know?
Oh, shit. Dead.
And this fight against Orphan of Kos that we're about to do, the last boss of DLC, is also a huge skill check. Like, you cannot beat him with brute force. You have to fucking know what you're doing, you know, because... Or at least you have to know how to dodge. That's the most important thing with this fight, is you have to dodge constantly.
How the fuck did you get through this game without being good at dodging?
I mean, I'm not bad at it. I got him down to 40%, but I don't know how to parry for anything. You know?
have to parry Orphan of Kos.
Well, I'm just saying.
He's hard as shit to parry. Because he'll trade off hits
He
with you.
has a constant flurry of attacks that are, like, really difficult to dodge all of them. So, yeah, I think that... But... What I was saying, the story, you know, all the things you fight, all the reasons you're fighting them are more interesting in this game than in Dark Souls. There's plenty of bosses in Dark Souls that are just like the Taurus demon. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
You know, like, what is the relevance of the Taurus demon? What's the relevance of the Capra demon? You know, and then they just show up later as regular guys.
Enemies.
Yeah, like, you know, there's like the old ones or the old guy and fucking. Well, I'll get to that in a second. So, like, yeah, I think that that part of this game is cooler. However, the logic of this game is not nearly as interesting as Dark Souls.
What do you mean?
Dark Souls had really concrete reasons for why you die and come back and what your goal is in the world, like what you as a player mean to the world, that like you're the chosen undead, you have to link the fire, you do all these things that a bunch of other people are trying to do, like everyone's in your position and you're just one of many NPCs who are trying to do this, and you're the one who succeeds if you do succeed, you know. If you stop playing, it's because you went hollow. If you keep dying because you're undead. In this game, not a lot of logic behind, like, why, like, the whole coming back to life thing is, like, because it's a dream within a dream or something. Well, it's because
your soul is tied to the hunter's
waking
dream.
Up and falling asleep.
So because you're part of the hunter's dream, you always come back to the hunter's dream through the lanterns.
Doesn't really make sense, though. Like, why does that happen?
Because Gehrman created the hunter's dream, so that would happen.
Shade was explaining, Shade was like...
That's how I see it.
Shade said that this, this would be the real world then, if the other stuff's the dream, but then dying to Gehrman and coming back doesn't make any sense.
No, this is not the real world. This is a dream.
This is a dream?
Yes.
It's
the hunter's dream is literally a dream. And he created it supposedly by using the umbilical cord and like... he has a contract basically with the moon presence.
The plot of this game is a lot more of a mess. Your place in this game doesn't make as much sense.
Did I just deposit my fucking blood?
Like everyone else... Everyone else clearly has their own goals and their own shit, and like they all make sense. But you yourself are just like,
well, you're a hunter.
Guy who's in there.
It's the same as Dark Souls. You're motivated by what motivates you to get through the game, and not by what the story is telling you want.
I don't, but what the story doesn't tell you want anything in this game. You're just
you're
just kind of in there.
I mean, no, because Gehrman wakes you up and he's like, "You're a hunter. Go do the hunt," and then you fucking go and you hunt.
I don't think it. I just don't think it's nearly as cohesive as Dark Souls is.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think the fact that this game uses all the same mechanics as Dark Souls is because obviously it's in the same franchise. You know, like it. It's a Dark Souls game, but it's not in that universe, and all those mechanics, like, made perfect sense because they were in that universe, you know? Even with Demon Souls, like, in Demon Souls and Dark Souls, you were this undead, and everything was based around the idea of undead, of coming back to life, of not giving up, of trying to, you know, beat back the, like, this game doesn't have that theme of, you're not supposed, determination, and, you know, everyone is going hollow, and you have to make it to the end. The theme of this one
isn't the determination, it's like it's the bloodlust.
I guess you could argue that it's
the
like,
blood drunk hunters go to the
so are you a blood
nightmare.
drunk hunter? Is that what you are? Just
no, because you haven't like lost your sanity.
Well, then why are you fighting everything? Like, what's
because you want to? Why did you play the game?
So then you are blood drunk. You're a blood drunk hunter who's trying to kill everything.
But you haven't lost your mind.
So like the plot of this game is I just want to kill shit.
Well, no, because it's like when you talk to the guy at the beginning of the DLC where he asks you,
Nightmares are fascinating.
Yeah, are you fascinated in nightmares, or are you just a guy who likes to kill shit? So it's like, your motivation is either you're trying to gain insight and learn more about the world, or you're just trying to kill shit. That's the player's motivation.
I don't think that makes nearly as much sense as the Dark Souls plot.
You're trying to uncover the plot and gain more knowledge about what's going on, or you're trying to participate in the hunt and just kill everything because you're a bastard. It's open to interpretation, the same way Dark Souls was.
I don't think Dark Souls was as open to
in Dark Souls, do you actually want to light the flame or whatever, or do you just want to kill shit? It does give you the same question.
I'm just saying that the literal mechanics of Dark Souls were a part of the narrative. The narrative was that everyone goes hollow if they give up on trying to make it to the end. And therefore, you either go hollow like all the other NPCs around you are doing, or you make it to the end and you either link the fire or you decide that you want to, fucking be the ruler. And, I don't think this game has that. It doesn't have that,
Or for the cost.
That it doesn't tie in what you're doing into what the story is, in the same kind of clever thematic way. I just don't... I think that the fact that this game is a part of the Souls series is, not addressed as much in the narrative, where, it's the same mechanics as Dark Souls, but the narrative's different in a way that's not as good, Not to say that it's badly done, just that it's not done as well as Dark Souls. Now, I will say that my biggest compliment for this game, and the reason that I honestly can't say... Because, based on that plot stuff and the other stuff I said, it would be I was leaning towards Dark Souls just because I the idea of the narrative is so important to me in Dark Souls. However, this game has a huge advantage in that almost none of this game is frustrating.
Yeah.
Dark Souls has fucking Lost Izalith, which fucking sucks. It has the boss of Lost Izalith, which fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Bed of
There's
Chaos.
Nothing that's just unfair and kind of beats you in the ass.
There's
for
a
no
couple
reason.
things that are, but they're optional.
Yeah.
Okay, the last part of Fishing Village is pretty fucking unfair. When you're trying to get
the dudes who jump out.
Yeah, when you're trying to get to the lantern, that shit's pretty unfair, but you can run right past it. By the time you get to the part that's truly unfair, but it's got the mage and the big guy and 4 fucking small guys.
Yeah.
We just ran past it in this playthrough because it's such a pain in the ass. But you don't really have to do that. You can just run past it and it's not that big a deal. I think that there's a part in the first DLC level if you decide to go into that dark cave.
No! I didn't parry!
Did you ever go into that cave where there's a guy with a machine gun that...
Yes. Dude, I never fucking fight that shit. I always run through and just get everything and run out.
That's what I did.
There's the dude with the machine gun and there's a blood-starved beast in there.
Yeah.
It is fucking terrifying.
The dude with the machine gun, you can fight without going down in, but he's really fucking hard. He's the hardest hunter in the fucking game.
I fucking hate that guy.
And even if you kill that guy, which I think I managed to kill him, I don't remember, but I ran in... And then, I was I'm just gonna fucking run past him. And I run in, and you fall into a pit, and it's completely pitch black. You can't see anything. There's a million enemies and a blood-starved beast all just sitting down there, and 1,000 items. And I just ran through, grabbed all the items, and ran out, and I was there's no fucking way I could fight all that. That was by far the most, batshit, I can't believe this is in the game room. But it's totally optional. You don't have to go down there at all, Nothing in this game is as frustrating as Tomb of the Giants. Nothing's as frustrating as fucking Bed of Chaos. God, what else is frustrating in Dark Souls? There's just certain parts of Dark Souls that are just I would rather not ever have to play through that
Exactly.
again,
You just run through it on the second time and you don't care. Which is most of the stuff in this game, I will do everything every time because I love it all.
Yeah. There's very, very few areas that I just ran through. Leading up to Margot's wet nurse, when there's that group of ladies with swords. Yeah. I ran past that because I got sick of it. I was no.
Yeah, that stuff is a little bit because it's right at the end, and you're just all right, I'm just gonna get through this level. I think that's probably one of my least favorite levels to do over and over again.
Yeah, Nightmare of Mensis is easily That's the thing, though. Nightmare of Mensis is very frustrating, but you can run through almost all of it. It's like it's kind of like the challenge is less about actually killing every enemy and more about figuring out like the path and then just hauling ass. You know, because the first couple times I went there, I was like, "There's no way." I was like, "This is way too fucking hard," you know. But then eventually,
motherfucker,
I thrashed it.
I lost. Got pretty close.
This boss is fucking hard.
Use a lot of blood vials.
This boss is very fucking hard. That's why I gave... And that's another thing. I didn't want to have to eventually... Like, I figured if I fought this guy too many times and I ran out of blood vials, then I would get mad.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to fight him a million times.
It's one of these where I'll probably get worse every time I fucking fight it.
Well, you did better that time than the time
before. I have no blood vials.
Yeah, see, that's why I
that's why you have blood gems. Or cold bloods, whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah, I gave up on Coast because I figured out, or Orphan of Coast because I figured out I was gonna end up using all my blood vials eventually, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go fight Gehrman and fucking Moon Presence and finish it off. So yeah, I did almost everything.
Nice, you have a bunch of chalice dungeons
not
too.
Not only is this probably the longest game I've beaten in like a while.
Jesus.
Like 31 hours is how long I spent. When was the last time I played 31 hours of a game?
Who knows?
Like, I legit am trying to think what was the last game I spent a lot of time on. And, oh god, what? Pokemon Y? No, I played PSO2 after that. I don't know. It's been a long time since I played 31 hours of a game.
Well, I don't know, guys.
It was like 4 nights of just non-stop marathon running. Every night, every night by the end of the night, my eyes were fucking gone. Like, just melted out of my skull.
Why can't I get Bolt Paper? Maybe I have to beat the game to get it.
It was like
New Game Plus thing?
Every day... No, you buy it with Insight.
I can't buy it. I don't have Bolt Paper.
What? You should have had it a long time ago.
Is there a boss I didn't beat?
Do you have to beat a boss to get Bolt Paper?
You have to beat bosses to get the different things. Maybe... did I ever beat the Lightning Dude?
No, that's probably it.
Huh.
I don't think you ever beat Dark Beast Paul.
Should I go beat him?
If you want. I mean, I don't know how much we're planning to do in this run total. We could beat the game right now.
Yeah, I could beat the game pretty fast, which is why I'm like, do I want to go do that?
Well, we're about at the end of this episode, so...
before this episode ends, I want to show you the other thing.
Well, like, we're, like, past the end. Like, we need
no, just real quick.
Better be real fucking quick.
We're gonna go to Canehurst Castle.
Did we ever beat Canehurst?
Yeah, we did.
Or Longarius, rather?
Yeah.
That's right, because we fucking saw the queen.
I wanted to show you, because after that, I went and I talked to that church hunter guy who's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
I'm gonna come back here.
You have to give him the letter, right?
I gave him the letter, yes.
So are we gonna fight him now? Is he gonna be...
You find him... He has lost his goddamn mind. He's got a pyramid head, and he has murdered the Vile Blood Queen.
Wasn't she already dead? Wasn't she a skeleton?
You could talk to her. What the fuck are you talking about? She's like a covenant.
That's right. Because she was supposed to be a heretic, right?
But this motherfucker is just basking in the glory of having murdered this woman. Because he just hates the Vile Blood so much.
It's your fault.
You that's her head on the ground.
You allowed him to do this.
Yes. Because when you fucking give him the letter, he's like, oh, those pretentious assholes.
Yeah, you gotta kill him and take his wheel.
No, he gave me the wheel already.
Did he?
He gave me the badge to buy it with. But yeah, you can kill him and take his wheel. I just want to show that off because that motherfucker's crazy.
Yeah, that's I didn't do all that. I didn't actually figure out how to get into the Queen's chamber. I didn't know how.
You have to put on the Crown of Illusions.
Yeah, I know that now. Shade told me.
Wow. You saw me do it.
Yeah, but I couldn't remember how you got in.
Anyways, this episode's over.
I didn't pay any attention to what you actually did. All right, next time on Digi Bros.
I gotta get another drink.